Right, let's dive straight in, shall we? Imagine this. Someone says about a top leader, he just had to win and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life occasionally. Pause on that for a moment. Doesn't that send a shiver down your spine? It's like hearing your pilot say, "Don't worry, I just need to land this thing, then I can nap." You'd have questions, right? That quote sets the stage for today. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What was really going on? What was so crucial that the plan was to win and then fade into the background? In politics, a comment like that is a firework in a library. It's loud, unexpected, and makes everyone stop and stare. The book we're peeking into, The Original Sin Inside the Effort to Keep Biden's Decline from Voters, written by journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, tries to pull back that curtain. It explores the idea that maybe, just maybe, what we saw on the surface wasn't the full picture. So let's get properly introduced. The book causing all this stir is titled The Original Sin Inside the Effort to Keep Biden's Decline from Voters. Quite a mouthful, isn't it? And it's penned by two well-known journalists, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. These aren't folks new to the political rodeo. They've been reporting from the front lines for years. The core claim is that there were significant concerns about President Joe Biden's cognitive and physical health, his overall fitness for the job. And crucially, the book alleges that his inner circle, the people closest to him, top aides, perhaps even family, were not only aware of these issues, but actively worked to keep them under wraps. The timeline for all this alleged secrecy is particularly interesting. We're talking about the period leading up to and during the intense 2024 election cycle. The book lays out a case that the concerns about President Biden's health weren't just fleeting thoughts or opposition gossip. Tapper and Thompson argue these were persistent, growing whispers, like a distant drumbeat getting steadily louder. They suggest that observations about his cognitive abilities and his physical stamina were not sudden revelations that appeared just before a crucial election event. Instead, the narrative presented is one of a gradual yet noticeable decline that people within his orbit were allegedly witnessing long before it became a major public discussion point. These weren't just vague feelings, according to the authors. The book details how these concerns manifested. Perhaps it was in meetings, during policy discussions, or in his ability to handle the relentless pace of the presidency. The idea is that the man the public saw delivering speeches or shaking hands might have been a carefully curated version, with significant effort going into managing his energy levels and his public interactions to mask any underlying difficulties he might have been experiencing behind the scenes. A key event highlighted is a debate with Donald Trump in June 2024. The book posits this as a moment where, despite all alleged efforts at concealment, the president's struggles became undeniably apparent to a wider audience. This debate was a critical juncture, a public test that laid bare the issues that some had supposedly been trying to downplay for a considerable period. Now, if these concerns about President Biden's health were indeed present, as The Original Sin alleges, who knew, and what did they do about it? The book points its finger directly at the president's inner circle. We're talking about his most trusted aides, senior advisors, and potentially even family members. These are the people who would have had the closest and most frequent access, the ones who would likely be the first to notice any significant changes or difficulties he might be facing away from the public glare. According to Tapper and Thompson, this inner circle didn't just passively observe, they allegedly took active steps. The book claims they worked to build a sort of wall of silence, a concerted effort to cover up these issues. This could have involved a range of tactics: carefully managing his schedule to avoid overexertion, scripting his appearances meticulously, limiting unscripted interactions with the press, and perhaps strongly pushing back against any internal or external voices that raised concerns. The motivation behind such alleged actions is a complex question the book likely explores. Was it purely about political survival? Was it a belief, however misguided, that they were protecting him or protecting the country from an alternative they deemed worse, like another Trump presidency? The original sin delves into hidden truths and the impact of keeping vital information secret. When leaders hide crucial facts, it's like a crack in a house foundation, weakening trust over time. Trust is the glue between leaders and the public. If people feel misled, that glue dissolves quickly. It's not just trust in one leader that erodes, but in the entire system. Secrets have a way of coming out, like water finding a crack. The book suggests that hiding President Biden's struggles compounded the issue, leading to a greater sense of betrayal. Another fascinating thread running through The Original Sin is the theme of loyalty. And specifically, when loyalty to an individual or a political party might cross a line into questionable territory. We all understand loyalty, right? Being loyal to your friends, your family, your team, it's generally seen as a virtue. But the book seems to ask, what happens when that loyalty demands that you compromise on other important principles? Like honesty or transparency with the public, that's a much trickier situation. The book portrays President Biden's aides and inner circle as fiercely loyal. And in the high-stakes world of politics, loyalty is often prized above almost anything else. However, Tapper and Thompson appear to argue that this loyalty, in this specific case, may have led to decisions that were not in the public's best interest. Were they protecting President Biden? Or were they protecting their own positions, their party's chances, or a particular agenda they believed was paramount? It's a moral maze, that one. Beyond the personal and political drama, The Original Sin touches upon something even more fundamental, the health of democracy itself. The book suggests that the alleged actions of concealing President Biden's condition weren't just internal party matters, but had a ripple effect on the democratic process. Democracy at its heart is about informed choices. Voters need accurate information to decide who they want to lead them. If that information is deliberately skewed or withheld, the whole system starts to wobble a bit. The research notes highlight a particularly strong quote from a Democratic strategist mentioned in the book. He stole an election from the Democratic Party. He stole it from the American people. It implies that by not being upfront about his condition, President Biden, or rather his team, deprived the party of the chance to choose a different candidate and deprived the electorate of a fully transparent choice. If voters are making decisions based on an incomplete or misleading picture of a candidate's fitness, can their choice truly be considered free and fair? The book argues that a similar dynamic unfolded in the political arena, leaving many feeling that the democratic ideal of an informed electorate was undermined. So, why should you, or I, or anyone really care about a book like The Original Sin? It's easy to see it as just another political tell-all, full of drama and accusations, something that happens in the faraway world of Washington, D.C., but the themes it explores, the questions it raises, actually hit much closer to home. This isn't just about President Biden or the 2024 election, it's about the kind of leadership and government we expect and deserve no matter where we live or who we vote for. At its core, this book is a conversation starter about transparency. We rely on our leaders to be honest with us, especially about things that could affect their ability to do their jobs. Think about it in your own life. If your boss wasn't upfront about major challenges facing the company, you'd want to know, right? It's the same principle, just on a much larger scale. Transparency builds trust. And trust is essential for any healthy relationship, whether it's personal or political. The book forces us to confront these uncomfortable questions and makes us think about the responsibilities that come with power. As we wrap this up, it's clear that The Original Sin, inside the effort to keep Biden's decline from voters, is more than just a collection of allegations. It's intended as a cautionary tale, a story that holds up a mirror not just to the individuals involved, but to the wider political system and perhaps even to ourselves. It's the kind of book that lingers in your mind, prompting you to ponder some pretty big questions about power, truth, and the responsibilities that come with leadership. The book really forces us to consider what we truly expect from the people who lead us. Do we want flawless heroes? Or are we prepared for human beings with vulnerabilities as long as they are open about them? It also makes us think about the immense pressures of public life, the constant scrutiny, and the sometimes impossible choices that people in those positions face. Perhaps one of the important takeaways is the enduring importance of asking questions and demanding transparency. The book, whether you agree with all its conclusions or not, serves as a powerful reminder of the vital role of a free press and public scrutiny in holding power to account. Food for thought, indeed.